Welcome to Built by Ty Talks, y'all. Look, you'll never find purpose scrolling through someone else's life, y'all. You got to figure out yourself. And look, no one can tell you your purpose. Like a lot of people think you're going to search on YouTube, you're going to search in Google, Chat GBT. You're not going to find your purpose because you have your own life and no one knows your life. You know what I mean? You can't find your purpose unless you put your head down and focus and lock in on you. The first thing you can do to find your purpose is focus on yourself because you're the main thing. Your purpose is yourself. You're put on this earth to focus on yourself. And you know what I mean? And so you have to be locked in and focus on yourself, y'all. And that's how you figure out yourself. You know what I mean? Don't scroll. Can't get lost in that social media stuff. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bad things out there in the world that are just looking for attention. You know what I mean? You got, porn, you got weed, you got friends, you know what I mean? You got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all these things, you know what I mean? Which there's a lot of good in a lot of that. But there's also a lot of bad. And if you don't know your purpose yet, chances are you're soaking up a lot more of the bad than you are the good, y'all. So figure out your purpose and don't go trying to find it anywhere else. Don't go pay for someone to teach you. No psych person's going to tell you that. You're not going to get that anywhere. Figure out your purpose, focus, lock in, y'all, and then figure out your energy and master your mind. Master yourself, focus on yourself, build yourself, discipline. I never realized that discipline and faith and God and all that aligns a lot, y'all. You know what I mean? I believed in a lot of things, but my actions never showed it. When you find discipline and purpose, you focus on yourself and you lock in and you can say no to things because you know they don't better you. That makes you a strong man. That means you know what you're doing and you're focused. And that attracts women. But when you're focused on yourself, you're not really chasing women. You know what I mean? You may have fun, you may deal with it, you may do your little thing, whatever, because it's okay to do that. But you're not focused on that. You're focused on your purpose and your mission, and you're driven. And the easiest way to find your purpose to start working out, yo. Working out makes you feel good. It makes you confident and it's building up yourself. And as you're building up yourself, you'll naturally align with the stars will align for you. God will align the stars for you and you will figure out your purpose when you're working on yourself, y'all. And that's the biggest thing. You know what I mean? A lot of youth nowadays struggle with that. And a lot of older men and middle-aged men struggle with their purpose. You know what I mean? They don't really know what they're doing and they don't really know what they're chasing and looking for in life, y'all. So you really got to get focused and lock in and stay focused, man, because man, it can really change your life, man. The stars will start aligning. You guys know that majority of men get married at 27 and they haven't really even became their best selves. You know what I mean? The truth is, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. When you find the right lady, you find the right lady. But I think a lot of men just settle out of loneliness. And you got to be comfortable with yourself because yourself is all there is in this world, right? Yourself is who you should be the most comfortable with. You know what I mean? You can't control no one else. You can control yourself the most, right? So if you're not comfortable with the loneliness of yourself, how are you going to be comfortable with someone else? You can't. You just can't be, you guys. It won't work. So you have to be locked in and figure out yourself and build up yourself. And it's very, very important because once you do that, you can conquer the world. You can really, really conquer the world. But you need to conquer loneliness first because you don't want to be one of those guys that just settles for someone, and then he's not an alpha. And there's nothing wrong with not being an alpha. Personally, I like to be an alpha. But you don't want to be one of those people that gets controlled and manipulated because girls will manipulate and control you guys if you don't have control and purpose and you don't know what you're doing and you're not comfortable with yourself. You have to be comfortable with yourself. And in order to be comfortable with yourself, you have to know when to set boundaries. And if you can't set boundaries in life, you are not comfortable with yourself. If you're scared to lose someone, then you're not comfortable with yourself, you guys, because you can't be abused and allow someone else to abuse you. That's just not what you need. You know what I mean? You got to be able to know what you got going on in life. You got to know your purpose and be comfortable with yourself and not be afraid of loneliness. Because when you're not afraid of loneliness, which a lot of men are afraid of loneliness, they settle for less, man. I see a lot of guys that are good guys, man. They got a lot going for them, you know what I mean? Not bad people, you know what I mean? But they settle for less out of loneliness. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. That's why I was saying, majority of people get married at 27, majority men. And, the divorce rate is a lot higher when they get married at that lower of an age and sometimes younger than that. But, your women find you and you are personally your most attractive statistically at 32. That's when your mind's the most mature, your body, you know what you're doing, you somewhat know your purpose. That's when you are your best self. right? And not saying you need to wait that long, but that just shows if you focus and lock in at a younger age, you may be able to figure it out, because majority of men go through their 20s partying, just having fun, because that's what society raises you to be. Society teaches you to be that. I think in your early 20s, you should start locking in. I think the earlier you lock in and focus, figure out your purpose, the farther you get ahead in life, y'all. And that's just the truth about it. If you're 18, lock in, man. I mean, you may not miss some opportunities, but high school is a fun time. You got through all that stuff. You know what I mean? If you're not going to college, because college just ain't your thing. And a lot of people just go to college for the experience. It's like a high ticket experience of a party, which is cool. It's good to get communication skills, builds up your little thing if you can. But man, focus on your purpose, focus on yourself, because you are how you find your purpose, man. And that's a really big thing. And God will put you, God will align the stars for you when you're focused on yourself. He will really align them stars for you, and everything will work out in the right timing that it's supposed to be. You got to have faith, gratitude, and discipline, y'all, because discipline is a really, really big thing. You can't have a dream, because a dream is just a dream. A dream is nothing without the discipline, the hard work, and the faith, you guys. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. I know a lot of people that got big dreams, but they don't do big things. And if you don't do big things and put in the work that comes with big things, you won't get there. You just won't. So you got to be focused, and you got to know that you can't find your purpose scrolling, y'all. You can't find your purpose from anyone else. No one else can give you your purpose but you. You need to focus on yourself. And that's how you get your purpose. That's how you get nice things like this. You know what I mean? That's how you get far in life. You know what I mean? You got to stay focused, y'all. Focus on yourself and find your purpose, man. Build yourself up, work out, hit the gym. You know what I mean? I'm still getting bigger. I'm still on my path. You know what I mean? But I've kind of known my purpose for a long time, but I'm still on my path, man. You know what I mean? Don't settle for less than you deserve. You are a king and you deserve the world. You know what I mean? Women are to help build you up, and they also come and go in your life. You know what I mean? Like, you may find that right one, but majority of women built you up to that. You know what I mean? You may have 3 previous girlfriends, or 4 or 10 or 15 or 20 or 3 ex-wives before you figured out who you are. They built you up into that. Whether it's going through pain, divorce, breakups, cheating, whatever it is. But women are to build you men up, right? Because men are kings, right? Men are kings, and men with purpose, they're the real kings, right? Or else you're just a bush up, right? If you don't have no purpose, you're just a bush up. A man that's a king has a purpose, and he calls the shots. You're the boss. You make the action. The women want you to lead. They want your alpha, right? The women want to follow a man that leads, right? Good woman. Some women that want you to suck up to them, those aren't the kind of women you want, because they're not the kind that are going to build you up. They're going to control you. They're not going to want to see you grow out them, because they're not going to want to see you grow bigger than them, right? But the right woman will want to see you grow bigger than them, right? But women shouldn't be your main focus if you ain't figured out your purpose yet, Law. Figure out your purpose and lock in, man. It's very, very important. It's very important. And don't go trying to search for it, because you just won't find it anywhere. You got to have faith in God. You got to trust God's timing. You got to pray. You know what I mean? But you got to, at the same time, you got to pray. You got to put in the work. You know what I mean? You can't just pray and not put in the work, because a lot of people just pray and think they're going to get what they want, but they don't work like that. You got to pray and put in the work, have faith and discipline. God will align the stars for you if you show up, but you got to show up, right? You can't pray for $1,000,000 and be hitting snooze when your alarm goes off in the morning. You come on, y'all. Like, it just don't work like that. It just does not work like that. Stay focused, stay locked in, and shine, y'all. Welcome to Built by Ty Talk, y'all. I hope you enjoy this. Stay focused, man. Find your purpose. A lot more coming, y'all. Love y'all, man. Subscribe to the channel if you can. This helps me grow. I'm trying to share more positive reinforcement into the world for not only just men, women too. You know what I mean? But right now we're focusing on men, man, because I think a lot of men struggle with figuring out their purpose.